right.
Streamline.
Good afternoon, man. Thank y'all for your patience. Thank y'all for. I know we are 25 minutes late, but if we was having some difficulties, studio wise, but it's nothing. We here now, so I'm not gonna take too long to introduce everything. But you know what it is. It's Mindset Therapy Real Talk Podcast here with Mr. Mindset Therapy himself. Here at Mindset Therapy, we help men, women, and children believe in themselves again. We offer 7 simple strategies to developing a positive mindset, and we stand on this. Look, this what adversity is. This what the test of your temperament is, because it was tested to me. It was tested, but I do know some things that happen is beyond our control. We can work through it or give up. And what happened tonight was absolutely working through it. And I appreciate you, Miss Grace, for continue to work through it and get through it. I thank you, Mike, for sticking in there and you know keeping me calm.
Right.
Just shut it down, but I appreciate y'all, man. Look, without this being understood or explained, Miss Grace, thank you for gracing us with your presence again. And I'm gonna let Mike introduce himself and thank you guys. Thank you.
Most
Go ahead,
definitely.
Mike.
Right. As always, Michael Robinson, co-host of the Mindset Therapy. We're here live. I don't want to take up any time. Another head banger, Miss Grace. So we're gonna go right into it.
Go
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you all for having me on again. Did you want me to introduce myself or we just
no, of
what?
course. Hey, without look,
Okay.
say less. You
Okay.
know?
Okay. So I am Grace. I wear many, many hats. Of course, I am a woman of God, a mother, and just being a mother, we are nurses, doctors, Uber drivers, chefs.
All right.
I mean, everything falls under that umbrella of being a mother, but I am also a therapist. I work nonprofit full time. I am into property preservation as well. And I just went back to school online. So, part time. So that's a little bit about me. I have worked with at-risk youth. I've worked with individuals that were incarcerated, and worked with women that have been incarcerated. I do public speaking from time to time as well. That's just a little bit.
So look, Miss Grace, we're gonna get into the meat and potatoes right here, because as I've been blessed to been knowing you for a minute, and I know your story, and I know how your testimony is like no other. You know what I'm saying? And I done had a few sisters on here that had some powerful stories, but this segment is called Life After Time. You were one of my first guests. When I first started this, you blessed me with your grace, and I want you to give the people they see where you at right now, but just give them a little bit of where you come from. Just tell them they see the glory, but they would never understand the story. So just so the women, the sisters can know it's possible.
Yes. So I come from a very diverse and multicultural background. I was raised in South Central LA. Left LA as a teenager, moved with my father's people to Ohio, and Ohio then to Texas. Growing up was very tumultuous. My mother was addicted to crack cocaine. She went from selling drugs, big drugs, to smoking and trying her own product. So I come from, I grew up seeing everything at such a young age. It kind of helped mold me and shape me a little bit into who I am today. It caused me to know what I didn't want to become. You know, it put a fire inside of me that made me want to do something different. My older sister, is first generation college graduate on my mother's side of the family. I then went to school as well. But what I saw was that a lot of drugs. Back then when crack first hit the scene, I don't think that people realized, how serious it was. It was just like, they tried it and just got hooked, and then they go back looking for that same high, and they say that you never really get that same high. Growing up, of course, my mom was not in growing up watching my mom do drugs. Of course, she wasn't in the right frame of mind to protect her children, or to mother, should I say, her children. I have older siblings and younger. I watched my mom freebase. I watched my mom prostitute. I watched her hustle. I watched her fight. It just was what it was. We experienced drive-by shootings and everything that comes with growing up at that time in that era. I'll be 50 in March. So, back then, I am also a sexual assault survivor. I've shared my story on different platforms about how I took a life, due to the fact of being sexually assaulted as a child. So once I went through all of that, I moved to another state with my father's side of the family. I then became kind of like rebellious. I started selling dope, transporting bricks, as a teenager, going to different states, making money for these OGs. People thought that they had put me on, but really they didn't put me on. I already knew the game because I had saw so much growing up so young. There's no reason why a child should know how to cook the dope, weigh the dope, cut the dope, and all of that at such a young age. Right. So it became a thing for me, that easy money. I didn't have to do it. My father's people were they were well off. I'm a daddy's girl. I didn't need for anything. I didn't want for anything. But that was just that fast life, dealing with older men, and that was just what it was. As I got older, I caught a case. I caught a few cases. I'm just gonna be real about it. Just thank God that, his grace and his mercy was upon me, that I've never had to do any prison time. But I'm a fighter. Well, I used to be a fighter, should I say. Now I fight on my knees in prayer, and I try to use my words and pick my battles, because now I have more to lose. Okay. Now my children are watching me. Now the people that I mentor, the people that I come in contact with, they're watching. So I have to do something different. When you want different, you do different, right? So, but I used to be a fighter. I didn't start it, but I finished it. Right. And it still didn't make it right. But what I found myself doing was, I was in a motorcycle club, how that can be, doing everything that I thought that I was big enough and bad enough to do, running from God, because it was instilled in me. My grandmother kept me in church, but I would go in the front door and leave out the back door. And I'm just being real. And, the old folks used to say, it's death on that girl, or it's death on that boy. The streets is something else. They'll wear you out. And if you're not careful, I just thank God that I don't look like what I've been through. Correct. But, I was running from God. I didn't have the understanding at that time. And I wasn't sitting still long enough to get the word in me. Right. At that time, I hadn't surrendered. Eventually I did, but I still wanted to, the streets were calling. Right. I wanted that money, So, eventually I caught a case as an adult, a few cases, criminal damaging, criminal trespassing, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. I was married at the time. My husband had cheated on me. I've been through a lot. So caught my man in bed with another woman, and I hit her in the head with a crowbar. And what happened was, the judge told me, look, you could have because at some points I was pregnant. I'm a mother. And I remember the judge telling me, like, pregnancy, first of all, is not a handicap, and it doesn't exempt you from going to prison. It's women having babies in prison every day. You could be having a baby in Marysville Prison in Ohio. That's not what I wanted to do, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to come to terms with something has to change. So I shared this on another platform where I caught a case, and I've never done drugs, but I pushed them in a lot of communities at some points in my life. And in order to beat the case, the lawyer said that I was under the influence of drugs and alcohol.
Right.
Well, I was ordered to go to drug and alcohol classes.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I'm like, I ain't no dope fiend. Why are they putting me in these classes? This ain't for me. You know, I thought I was just too good. Just this ain't for me.
Right.
But I didn't know then that was God using those classes to get me to understand addiction,
right,
for one, and to get me to start the healing process and to be able to forgive my mom. You know, I had to go through that and didn't know then until I came out of it, and it struck something up in me to want to go back to school to, you know, study not just addiction. I'm not a licensed chemical dependency counselor, but I got off into the mental health arena and different things, and, you know, working and mentoring youth and young ladies,
mm-hmm.
working in different sectors and different group homes and residential treatment centers with children, because I was once that child as well. So I went through that those classes. I had to do 6 weeks, I believe it was, and then 10 weeks recovery. So I had a sponsor, and I would sit there and not talk for weeks. Weeks would go by. I'm like, I'm gonna just ride it out. I don't care. Just sign me in. I'm out. But, you know, eventually he told me, he said, one of these days you're gonna come in here, you're gonna talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I was stubborn. I'm like, okay, whatever, you know. And you know, I did. I eventually opened up. We would have group. I was sitting in group with nurses that had been addicted to drugs, that would steal the prescription pads, and they would steal the medications in different nursing homes and hospitals. And I'm looking at these people that are of all walks of life, all different professions. And I was like, wow, okay, you know, by the grace of God, there go I didn't understand. But as I went through, I was able to start the healing process to forgive my mother for not being able to mother me.
Correct.
Being inebriated all the time, she was not able to mother me.
Right.
Listening to my mother's story and where she came from, and her not having her mom in her life, mm-hmm. and the different trauma and things that she went through as a parent that she never was able to really share, because back then people just swept stuff under the rug. You know, it wasn't mental health was not a thing back then. You know, it was like, well, you be quiet, or if you're a man and you feel like you need some help, you're weak. If you're a woman, you better be quiet, because, you know, we're the weaker vessel, so to speak. So I was able to tap into some areas of trauma that, you know, I had continued to live life and sweep these things under the rug and not really face the realities of those things. How is it that I could pour into other people and yet I'm broken?
Mm-hmm.
So it was through those classes that I had to really, really do the work, the shadow work.
Right.
And then I began to open up, and, you know, you can't keep on, you know, putting a Band-Aid on it.
Right.
You have to really face it, you know, and that's what I did. And so here I am today. And I go around, I speak from time to time in prisons and different sectors. You know, and I share my story, and I'm not ashamed of it, because God has redeemed me, for one. And it's not my story. It's for God to get the glory out of my life, mm-hmm. you know, so that I can tell someone else, girl, you can make it. You are not your situation. You are not what you experienced. That was just something that happened to you. Right. But that you don't identify as that. That's not who you are, you know. And then the healing process can start to take effect. I can talk and talk, y'all, so y'all better come on in.
Jump in here. Look, man, look. You say you used to sit in them classes like, none of this pertain to me. I'm different.
I'm good. I'm too good for this. Not me. What?
Look, I feel like I got caught with so much, this is beneath me. Y'all not talking about me. I'm just sitting here to get out here. And the man said, I'm watching you. I'm watching you. He still kept saying that. Before you know it, I was going to Scotland where he worked at. I got in a room in Scotland because I had to take the same old class I was dodging on the street up in Scotland. So he said, didn't I told you I was going to get you in one of my classes and have no service? I said, well, yeah, you did say that. To this day, that man, he made me learn the serenity prayer, the 12 steps. I couldn't go hit the big yard until I learned, look, God grant me the serenity to accept things that I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, but the wisdom to know the difference. Right now to this day, that's prayers everything to me, because sometimes I say it and I really need it. I say it 5,000 times a day. If I'm in a position and I'm up, look, oh, this American, you know what I'm saying? I gotta say it, and I never thought then that prayer will mean so much to me right now today. But I can get by day or night without saying that in my head out loud, just to get me back on my, pivot. Because sometimes us human, bro, we'll go there. Yeah. We would lose it. We would forget everything we didn't learn, everything. Because like you said, it's not who it's something we do. It's not who we are. We're not that. It's just something we're trapped in. So we'll divert back to that and be like, man, ready to flash and hold up. Got a solution for that. Now it might work for me different than it worked for someone else, but that's one of my tools I use. So I resonate that when you say that, Ms. Grace. That's what's up, man.
And another thing I tell people, whatever it took for you to get free, you got to stay there to stay free.
Oh, come on now.
You can't go back doing and hanging around the same folks that God delivered you from, the same people, places, and things that God delivered you from. If my thing was, I'm gonna go push this weight. I'm gonna go, okay, you say you got the car, the floorboards ready, the car ready, everything ready. I just gotta go. If I know in my mind that I love money, that fast money, then I need to surround myself around some people that's gonna hold me accountable. Some accountability partners, somebody that's gonna love me even when it hurt and say, you know what, girl, you throwing rocks at the penitentiary. You better chill out. How much money can you make? How much money can you spend? Because at the end of the day, you never know when you might get knocked.
Right.
And not only that, morally, is that really right? I had to really reprogram my mind to do something different. And it's not easy. So when you talk about mindset therapy, or even just therapy, period, in any form, any capacity, it takes so many days to break a habit. It's not easy. Right. And I tell people, consistency yields results. It yields results. Right. So if I know that I want to change, I have to be the change that I want to see. I have to surround myself around people that's going to hold me accountable, that's going to speak life into me, that's going to say, when I'm wrong, look, girl, I love you, but that's wrong. And it doesn't always feel good, but it's for my good.
But growth don't feel good.
No, it doesn't.
Some change don't always feel good. If it don't hurt you, what they say, Mike, if you working out and if it don't burn, it ain't working.
Right. Pain.
Yeah.
No
growing
pain.
Yes.
Say they don't understand that the addiction to hustling, it's no different than you hitting that pipe, shooting that dope, snorting that dope, or whatever, because you after the same high.
Right.
You after the same high, you might don't be, basically doing it in the same way, but you're chasing the same thing. That feeling you never get back.
Right.
Like you got the first feeling.
Right.
Yes. And if I can be honest with you, then it became a thing where I started, my younger little god sister was into stripping, and she had connections to the strip club and these girls, and I became a madam.
Right.
You know, I was not necessarily the one sleeping with the guys, but I connected the women with the guys.
Right.
I made sure they went to the doctor. So I'm a hustler by nature. But what I had to really let God do for me is turn that hustle mentality into a positive. I always say drug dealers are some of the smartest people.
They are.
They are mathematicians, they're bankers, they're accountants, they are,
manipulative,
cook, chefs. I'm sorry.
Manipulative.
You know how I tell people I got the gift of gab. If I need to, I know how to make it do what it do.
Right.
But I had to learn to use those skill sets in a positive way and not always think, I'm gonna go just like, let me give you an example. When I first moved to Texas, I went through a period, it's hard when you're living with somebody. I stayed with my sister for a while. She had her kids, I had my kids, it just didn't work. So I became homeless. I tell people, I'm like, well, I stayed in a hotel, but it wasn't my home. This was many, many years ago, but it wasn't my home. I didn't know, and it was one of those where you pay weekly. I didn't know sometimes how we were going to make it. I just knew that I wasn't going back to Ohio because I had done everything that I thought that I could do in Ohio. And I remember my sister saying, girl, you need to come to Texas. I had been married. I had kids. I went to school. I was in the streets. I had done everything. So it was time to move. Right. When I got off probation, I said, I'm out. But when I moved here, it seemed like all hell broke loose in my family, with my sister and her kids and my kids. And it was just a discord. See, the enemy don't have no new tricks. He used the same tricks, but a different vessel. Right. And he doesn't like marriage and he hates family. I had to grow up in a lot of areas to see those things. And God had to show me, and I had to pray and ask God for discernment. But I went through a period and I struggled. Right. I met this white guy. He was an architect. He called himself liking me. I said, let me tell you, I can't like nobody when I'm broke.
Right.
My mind won't let me like you.
Right.
It just won't. Not set up like that. But if you let me hold $5,000, I promise you I will give it to you plus some. The man gave me the money and I took it and I made it do what it do. Right. And I told God, I said, I will never, ever, ever be in this situation again.
Right.
We say one thing, but God will laugh and he'll humble you right on back down.
Most definitely.
And I can't manipulate God into blessing me or doing what I want him to do. It's his will, not mine. It's his time, not mine. Right. If God say, no, I got some more stuff for you to go through, then you gonna go through some more stuff.
Right.
And I said, well, God, I'm tired of being one of your strongest soldiers. We got to do something different, Jesus.
Right.
And I went through some more stuff. Right. I got it and lost it all again, several times over. So in this life, I try to stay humble because I know what it's like to have and I know what it's like to not have. I know what it's like to be up here and God will bring you right back down there. Right. And you thinking the whole time like, I'm good. Why is everything breaking out and breaking loose when I'm good? But God is letting me know there's more in you that have to come out. Wow. I drove past the cemetery one time and I was just looking at the headstones, and what dropped in my spirit was that so many people died full. Right. And I said, God, when I die, I want to die empty. I want to die empty of everything that you put in me to pour out into the world. All of my purpose, all of my creativity, all of my ideas, my innovation. I want to die empty. I want to be earthly relevant and heavenly certified. And at the end of the day, a lot of those people that are in the grave, they died with creativity. They died and they didn't do everything that God had aligned for them to do. And I had to say, you know what, let me shift my mind because I'm going down the wrong path real fast. Right. And so once I started to change my mindset, my life began to change and everything around me began to change. I no longer craved the things that I used to crave. My taste changed in even men, and my taste changed in certain places I don't go.
Right.
And it's not that I'm bougie. I tell people you can think whatever you want.
Right.
But for me,
Right.
that doesn't serve me. So I don't have a desire to do certain things.
Right.
Also, it goes back to what I said earlier. Whatever it took for you to stay free, you got to stay there to stay free, to get free. I'm sorry. Whatever it took for you to get free, you got to stay there to stay free.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't go. Every opportunity is not for me.
Right.
You know. So that's what I have to say.
Right. So myself, I'd like to jump in and touch on several things that I've heard.
Okay.
I'm fond of a phrase that I often state, that I had to be broken to be healed. So when you spoke about being healed, I resonated with that. Also, I'm up under the ideology that consistency, you'll keep it. Persistency, you'll get it. Consistency, you'll keep it. So God was taking you through, but as you said, you remained humble, consistent, and eventually you are the grace that you are today. Lastly, I would like for you to elaborate, expound on some of the programs or some of the things you do with the youth. I myself, along with Mindset Therapy, Anthony London, we're working jointly to do everything we can to share our lived experience, to pour back into the youth, those that may be going down the paths that we took, or those that, on any path that is detrimental. It's going to lead you to prison. We see it. We can identify. We know the triggers, as you spoke about. We know the red flags. And if you don't pivot, just turn, get off that course. And like you stated, negative, positive, and make it work. So I would like to know more about what it is in the community, in the prisons, that you do with the youth.
Okay, so let me start by saying that I am not currently working with the youth as of right now. Okay. Right now, I work with adults in the nonprofit sector outside of the property preservation. I actually work nonprofit with women and men that have been incarcerated, that have come out and are in treatment, and trying to re-enter society as productive citizens. They work the drug and alcohol classes, whatever it is that they need to do, be it court ordered or otherwise, we help them become successful. So that is what I am currently doing. I am also trying to get my man that Mr. London spoke about earlier to share his story in the school district, since school just started in August, last month. By it being a fresh new year, we're trying to penetrate some of these school districts to not just share his story, but to give tools, to let them know, to give some practical advice and some practical tools where he can get up and speak to them, and then we can have like a question, open the floor for questions and answers from a therapeutic perspective as well. So that is something that he and we just spoke about, and I am currently in position to work on and getting the paperwork and everything together outside of what we do already. Me managing and doing other things aside from the nonprofit work and things like that.
Right.
But I've worked with several youth. I even had my own mentoring group. It was called Mentoring Miracles. That was before COVID. Then after that, I've worked I was the house mother at a group home. And worked all the way up to managing and running the residential treatment center for youth. I did that for 7 years. A lot of them, they came from other, especially when Houston had like the flood, and they brought a lot of them from Houston to our facility. We pretty much, we didn't just tell them, hey, if you go down this road, this is what's going to happen. Because sometimes they'll test you, they'll try you, they hard head make us, but so some people are like, well, I'm gonna just check it out. See, I'm the type of person who's like, if you tell me that it's, hot, the stove is hot, I don't want to touch it because you told me it's hot and I don't want to burn my hands. Right. But you have some people, they have to just touch that hot flame and that stove.
I don't believe you.
So, Yeah, I don't believe you. Let me check it out. You know, they want to bump their head. So we would give we would do life skills with them. Some of them didn't know how to even make a bed.
Right.
You know, I remember being in our clinical team meeting one day at the home, and we would teach them life skills, how to make your bed, how to, fold your clothes, you need to wash your sheets, just things that we do every day.
Right.
But they were not accustomed to that. And what somebody had to tell me, they said, your expectation of them making the bed is like this. I want it smooth. I don't want to see no wrinkles. But see, that's my expectation.
Right.
These young people are coming from homelessness where they didn't even have a bed.
Right.
And here I am talking about make the bed this way.
Right.
And so they gave it their best shot at that level of where they were at that time until I was able to then raise the bar.
Right.
But going in, my expectation was make the bed.
Right.
It wasn't until another team member said, well, you're asking them to do it this way, but these kids are coming from the streets.
Right.
They didn't have no beds.
Right.
And I said, okay. It was like an aha moment for me.
So what you think, you kind of met them where they was.
Right.
And then we raised the bar. Yes.
Right.
You have to meet people where they are.
Correct.
I can't expect a 10 or expect, like I said, the bed to be without wrinkles. And fluff the pillows and tuck the bottom part military style or how. And they are coming from a place where they didn't even have a bed at all. They were sleeping in their mama's car.
Right.
So in their mind, they're like, well, you said make the bed and it's made. Right. But in my mind, my expectation was different. So I then had to change my mindset. Correct. I had to code switch. I had to tweak some things within me. And my expectations, I had to kind of bring it down a notch and meet them where they were. And once we worked on the surface things and those little things, then we can raise the bar. Once we do that and we do it consistently, then I can say, okay, we've been making the bed like this for about 3 weeks now. It's been about 30 days. Now let's try to do it this way. So that was a big takeaway for me because I don't know it all. I'm very open-minded to learning new styles. We all have different learning styles. Mm-hmm. So that was something that I took away. I'm like, that makes sense, And it's with anything else in life. We have to meet people where they are. We can't be judgmental, right. We can't re-traumatize, right. People.
Right.
Say, I look. Just like we took my son and his friends to eat some dinner tonight, and we was talking to him, and we was talking about like understanding and forgiving. So
yeah,
we was like, okay, how are you gonna hold something against someone that doesn't understand what they did? They never was taught it. So you mad at because they didn't do this or do that for you, but in reality, they don't even know how. They was just doing what they understood to do. So now you backtrack, you learn some things that they never had a chance to learn because you grew up in a different time.
Right.
So now you have to understand you have to forgive those people.
Yeah,
because
like my mom.
Basically we was talking about parents. Because some parents only done what they knew. They wasn't taught how to do this and how to do that and how to teach their kids this or they probably didn't learn this with this child, but had another child and was able to correct some things and raise this child different. It's not that they love them more than you. They just wasn't that person when you was young. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very thin line between that and to get the kids to understand, man, you got to give your parents a break sometimes. You can't charge them with everything. When you know better, you do better. It's true. But let's rewind this tape and find out who your parents was at that time and what did they know. What were they taught? Were they, so man, say, bro, and that's what bring on the mental anguish, the unstable thinking, and because you think you were supposed to be given this, but they really didn't know how.
Right.
And if I can piggyback on that before I lose my thought, not to cut you off,
No problem.
it takes me back to my mother and I's relationship, right? I was young and I didn't understand everything that my mother had experienced. A lot of it I learned even after her death. All I knew was that I was a young girl that longed for my mother.
Right.
I thank God for my grandmother, but she wasn't my mother. She mothered me, but I wanted my mother.
Right.
But my mother was in the streets. I saw my mother do many things.
Right.
And I didn't understand it all then. I was kind of far along for my age mentally, even physically, but I was still a baby. I was a baby doing grown-up stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just know that I wanted my mother.
Right.
So as time progressed, I hadn't seen my mother before she passed away in over 25 years.
Wow.
We began to establish a relationship over the phone, but by the time my mother became clean, she had become sick. Right. And a lot of the times when people are so inebriated all the time, they have things that are laying dormant in their bodies, and they have different ailments that they didn't feel because they were always high and under the influence. Right. So now that you're sober, all of these different things are coming out. Right. And you're feeling every pain because now you're sobering up. So my mother went through that whole phase, and I like I said, we had established a relationship over the phone, but I hadn't seen my mother I think I was like 11, 12 years old, and she died in 2017. So, I had to understand and give her some grace, even in death.
Right.
And grief is not always in death. I tell people that. You can grieve somebody that's still alive. You can grieve an old habit. You can grieve many things, right? Even in death, I had to give her grace. Because my aunt had begun to tell me stories of upbringing and how my mother was put up for adoption and they kept her sister. That alone to a child can be very traumatic. Oh, now I'm feeling inadequate. You kept her and gave me away?
Right.
My mother also got pregnant at 14 and had my older sister at 15.
Right.
My older sister didn't even know who her father was. And it's not to put her business out, if she's watching, is to say that back then, as I stated earlier, things were swept under the rug.
Correct.
Now you're pregnant at 14, you're making the family look bad. Now we got to ship you off because you're making us look bad.
Right.
And my mother, believe it or not, was adopted into the family of the gospel legend James Cleveland.
Wow.
I don't know if you all are familiar with him. And as time progressed, my aunt began to tell me all of these different things. How my mother's mother was a party animal.
Right.
Pathology is real.
Right.
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah.
And some of this stuff is in the bloodline. That's why I have to be careful. I don't have an addiction. I've never been on drugs, but I love to gamble. I'm gonna just be honest.
Right.
And so I will take a chance gambling. And I have to, and sometimes Kay will say, okay, baby, enough is enough, but I'm always looking for the big one,
Chasing that high. Right.
And sometimes I find that even when I lose, most of the time I win, but there are times when, we all lose.
Right.
And I tell him, scared money don't make money. That's me just psyching myself out.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the mindset. Yeah, that's the mindset that you adapted in your youthful upbringing.
Thank you.
Scary money don't make money. Hey, I got to get out here and get it. So again, like you stated, is that floorboard ready? Is that dope loaded? I'm gonna drive. I'm gonna get it there. But are you ready?
Yeah. It's that mindset.
Right.
Yes. And so, I'm not throwing rocks at the penitentiary when I'm at the casino.
Right.
Or the little gas station that got the vape shops that got the little game. Right. But it's still the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's
still the same thing.
Yeah.
It can become addictive. And so my aunt began to tell me about, how my mother was put up for adoption. And I thought to myself, wow, that would make anyone feel feelings of inadequacy.
Right.
Oh, I'm not enough. You kept her and put me up for adoption. Right. So now you're self-medicating.
Right.
So now, you met this man who put you in the game, right. And you feel like, he loved you because now you're getting that attention from elsewhere. Right. Because it's love, right? Right. Not only that, but he's showering.
So we say it's love, huh?
Right. And he's showering you with these gifts. So now I'm getting things that I didn't get as a kid. Right. I'm just grown getting them. Right. And so as my aunt began to tell me some of these stories, I was like, okay, God. Now, mind you, I had already went through the drug and alcohol classes. So putting those two together, okay, now I understand. Let me give my mother some grace. Right. Because she was a child herself that had a child.
Traumatized.
Right.
Doing the best she could probably with what she had in that season of her life.
Most definitely.
Most likely scared, feeling alone, not knowing what to do as a young mother. Then my brother came along, and then I came along, and we all have different fathers or whatever. And I'm not saying that in a facetious manner. I'm just saying to give you all a little perspective and background. So then my aunt said, when she told me those things, I said, wow, let me give her some grace. Now, a few weeks ago, my son said to me, because I have a teenage daughter that's about to be 18 next month. And, she's going through her stage of rebellion.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, how is it I can pour into other people, but I can't she's not getting it. We're not, we're in a season where I'm like, Lord, just cover her. Right. Just speak to her heart. Just guard her, And I'm trying to connect, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But my son told me, he said, Mommy, you know what? And he just turned 21. He said, I didn't think about growing up, all the things you had gone through as a kid and becoming a mother.
Right.
He said, you were not mothered properly.
Right.
And then you had kids.
Right.
You're giving your kids all that you can give.
Right.
Sometimes material things, a lot of the time love. Right. But sometimes I'm loving them from the perspective of which I think they need to be loved.
Right.
They may need to be loved in a different manner.
Correct.
So we have to tweak it and say, God, show me how to love my children the way they need to be loved from me as their mother, not the way that I think that they need to be loved and mothered. Right. Because I can be draining myself and pouring in and giving, and they not need none of that.
Right.
But the one thing that they need, I don't see that they need, and I miss the mark.
Right.
Wow.
So my son said, Mommy, I give you grace. Right. Bro, I'm talking about all these fake eyelashes came off with these tears.
Oh,
because I said, thank you, God, that he get it.
Right.
And that same grace that he extended to me, that I extended to my mother, that I expect for God to extend to me as well. The same grace that God gives me, I have to give out.
That's right.
But it was like an aha moment for my son and I was just like, oh, God, I thank you. Because it let me know that he get it. And now he's about to be a father in like 3 weeks.
Right.
Wow.
I have 2 grandchildren on the way, a day apart. My daughter, she's 26, she's expecting, and my son and his girlfriend are expecting. Right. And I just said, God, I thank you that he get it. Because we try so hard as parents, as fathers, I'm sure you are. There's no rule book to this thing.
No.
There's no handbook, love. None. Ain't none.
A lot of sweat, a lot of tears, a lot of hard work, a lot of conversations, consistency, talking to them, you drilling it in them and you hoping that they get it.
Right.
My son said, Mommy, I get it. Now it's time for me to show you that what you put in me, I can pour out.
Most definitely.
You just got to trust that I can do it. So I'm like, okay, God, let me step back and trust that he can do it. And he's been doing very well at doing it. Man, so I'm so grateful for that.
This is amazing because look, I was I was just telling my son and his two friends that I was telling his friend what my son is getting. I
Yeah.
didn't get that. I didn't have that father. I was raised by two women soldiers. I mean,
Yeah.
hard women, working, blood, sweat, and tears. I didn't understand what a man. I couldn't stand men. My
Yeah.
respect for women was off the meter though, because that's what they taught me. I know it, excuse me, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, but men couldn't tell me nothing because they didn't
Yeah.
teach me nothing but what I saw in the street. So when I got older and just went to going for what I know one thing. I didn't want to give my son and my daughters what I got, and that was
Want it
nothing.
better, right? You want it better.
Better for them. So
Right.
I did everything that I thought was a father was supposed to do and look like.
Right.
Very, very smooth in my chastising.
Yeah.
Very understanding. Stuff I ain't they read it in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that was all God. I was just digging in the bag.
Right.
Yeah.
Me and my wife digging in the bag, and God worked it out, man. And I'm not too, but man, from where I come from, man, and I'm hearing you say, man, and salute, because there's only a few women that can raise a man.
Right.
Yeah.
Only a few.
Right.
And I it has been moments where, dad was around. I've even been married. And sometimes I was married and didn't even feel like I was married. My husband was a great provider.
Right.
He provided.
Right.
But he had a problem with, at one point, addiction himself. Right. And when I found out, I supported him in going to treatment. Right. And then he had a problem with infidelity. So there were times when I was married and didn't even feel like I was married. But it didn't stop for me. I had to still hustle. I enjoy, actually, I think my daughter asked me the other day, she said, when you were married, did you enjoy your husband like doing everything and taking care of you? And because he paid all the bills. And I said, but I still worked the job. I worked my job for 14 years. Right. And I enjoyed it because I like to be around people. I like to feel like, even on a tough day, even at work now, working with the population that I work with, it can be very hard. It can be very hard. You're watching the people, they're on drugs. It can be hard. But it's rewarding at the end of the day. When I lay my head on my pillow, I feel as though I've made a change, that I came in contact with someone and I was able to encourage them and pour into them, even when I'm feeling depleted.
Right.
So I enjoy what I do when it comes to community service and human services and nonprofit and just giving back. I feed the homeless from time to time out of my own pocket. My kids and I have been all down there feeding the homeless. And it's to show them that by the grace of God, baby, there go I. Yeah. Because hardship and trouble in this day and time, none of us are exempt. None of us are exempt. Some people are one paycheck away from losing their homes, not being able to pay their mortgage, their car notes and things like that. So I'm so grateful that God has kept me. I'm so grateful that I finally got it. There are times when I still, make mistakes because we're human. I may say something and then I have to go back and apologize to someone because I'm still human. Right. But I'm woman enough to say that I don't know everything. Even a wise man know that he has enough sense to know he doesn't know everything. Right. But I'm teachable. I'm teachable.
Coachable and teachable.
Most definitely. Yeah. Miss Grace, I'd like to throw a fastball at you.
Okay, let's come on with it.
Right. So, being a returning citizen myself, could you expound on how imperative, how important it is to have that accountability group, that support group, that support system, that friend that you can with anything? Because as you stated, you have your up and down moments. Even though today you're a better person, you still have your up and down moments. And I can tell you firsthand, it is a beautiful thing when you can pick up the phone 2, 3 in the morning and regurgitate what it is that's troubling you to somebody that's going to tell you the right thing. So if
Yes.
you would please, could you tell the viewers, myself, Anthony, could you tell us how important it is from your view, that support system?
Well, let me use me as an example first. Although I'm not a returning citizen, I am someone who, at one point, and I'm just going to have a transparent moment.
Most definitely.
If times got hard, I'm ready.
Most definitely.
I'm ready to go get it.
Right.
Ready to go get it. But see, I had to change that mentality.
Bingo.
And the people at that time that I was around, they like, okay, you on your way. What we doing?
Yeah.
So I had to do away with those kind. Because the minute times got hard, I'm looking for a way out. I don't know about nobody else, but these lights got to get paid.
Right.
These bills are due.
Most definitely.
But I had to really, really, really count up the cost, because there's a cost. There's a price that comes with that way of living. See, it may be easy. You get it up front, you get it, and okay, cool. But there's a price that comes with it. So what the advice that I would give to someone that's returning is to surround yourself around genuine accountability partners.
Right.
Somebody that's going to hold you accountable even when it hurt. When you're frustrated, they're going to say, look, bro, I'm saying this because I love you. If you go back to doing A, B, C, and D, you're going straight to prison. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. And the same people that are talking to you, they're going to be out while you're in.
Correct.
Those same people are going to be enjoying lives with their families, with their kids. And I tell people, 15 seconds or 15 minutes can cost you 15 years of your life.
Right.
So I would encourage people to stay busy.
Most definitely.
Stay busy.
Yeah.
Find a trade.
Right.
Go to truck driving school.
Right.
Go and, do some community service.
Correct.
Get around a brotherhood group in a church.
Right.
Study your word. Seek God for yourself.
That's right.
Seek God for yourself, because at the end of the day, when you go before that judge, it's just you standing up there entering a plea.
Most definitely.
When you go before the parole board because you've now revocated, it's just you standing up there. So I would encourage a person to stay busy, stay grounded, have some accountability partners, take ownership of your own life. I'm getting too old to keep doing the same thing, keep going down this road, keep bumping my head. When you want more, you do more. When you want different, you do different. When you know better, the Bible says, and I hate to, I know it may be people on here that are of different religions, but I am a believer in Christ.
Come on now.
But, the people perish for lack of knowledge.
Right.
So I would say, educate yourself. Educate yourself, and then reintroduce yourself as a new person to society. Somebody that's rehabilitated and redeemed and walk in that redemption.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Let me tell you something. Look, I got to tell you something.
Yes, sir.
When you say you a believer, look, and I'm just gonna resonate on this just a little bit, just for the viewers to understand. Your he said a personal relationship. You don't got to go through the pastor, the preacher, the deacons, none of that. We here at Mindset Therapy, we're not no pastors, preachers, we're not no biblical scholars. We firm believers in God through his son, Jesus Christ. Check it out. Both of us got different reasons we believe in God.
Yeah.
We got our different reasons. I was robbed and shot at point blank range. I died 3 times, 6 surgeries, 16 blood transfusions. I stayed in ICU 4 months and 2 weeks in ICU. went to a regular float. Nobody can tell me nothing about my God.
I'm telling you.
Nothing about him. My
Yeah.
walk through that life was totally experience. And I didn't
Yeah.
wake out my comb and say, hey, everybody gotta believe. No. We're not gonna do that.
Salvation is personal.
I'm just gonna share with you and serve the way I learned in the new walk I'm walking. And I'm served with that. Now, if you want to know, I'm gonna run it with you and tell you, but I'm not gonna beat you in the head, bro.
Yes.
My actions gonna speak louder than anything I ever have to tell you about your personal relationship with God. Yeah. And I know both of y'all then had experiences where God then just showed his unadulterated favor
and grace.
In grace. Miss Grace.
Yes. Yeah. I've had fluid drained off my brain twice. Come on, you know, I should be in prison probably for some of the things that I've done, but because of his mercy, because of his favor, because of his grace, and second chances and third chances, and I'm talking about when I didn't even know that I was being kept, God kept his hands on my life. When I was running and you know, from things, running from God, running from the church, going in the front door, leaving out the back door as a teenager. And then one day they said, no, ma'am, you're going to get on this altar and you're going to tarry for the Holy Ghost. See, back then we had to tarry. You know, and I thank God that finally I was arrested in Christ, you know, because now I can truly say I know God for myself. Yeah, grandma's prayers are good. Auntie's prayers are good. But it was just times where it was just me and God. And it was ugly. And I was on the potter's wheel and it didn't feel good. But it was for my good. Looking back, it was for my good. And so I'm grateful for those old Christian, old mothers, old saints that didn't give up on me. They saw something in me that at the time I was too busy to even see, you know, for myself or know that I possessed myself, you know, and I just thank God that I was able to snap back before it was too late, before I was in a dope spot. And I done been in the dope houses where we see them on the camera putting the mask on with the guns. And they telling us to run, you know, go hide. And the people come in and lay everybody down. But God.
But God. And let's see if I can tilt my camera. But God.
Yeah, but God. So, you know, I know God because I tried him. And I know him. And I found him to be a friend. And I know what he is to me and who he is. And if he didn't do anything else, he's done enough. You know, and because of that, I can tell other people. If he brought me out, he'll bring you out.
Most definitely.
If he did it for me, he'll do it for you. No respect to person.
He had a plan for you.
But we have to surrender also at some point. And that was what it was for me. I enjoyed, I'm just going to be honest. I enjoyed doing wrong. I'm like, if I'm going to do wrong, I'm going to do wrong real good. Not that I encourage anybody to do that, but that was my mentality at the time. That was thinking.
Look, Stank will think. Let me bring this to your attention.
Okay.
You know, because of you, I know him. You don't understand that because of someone you was managing.
Yeah.
Connect me to that brother. Me and that brother. Yeah. He connected me to this brother, and me and this brother conversed for like a month or two before I even seen him.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
God is good.
Man, God, man, what?
And let me tell you how I met that person. You know, I used to podcast because you had came on our podcast, Rebuilding Future. Yes, I was 1/5. So I was the female on there with 4 gentlemen.
Yeah.
And one of the gentlemen, he was like, man, I got somebody I need you to meet. I got somebody I need you to meet. Y'all do the same thing. And it took a little minute, but when we finally met, he does prison ministry. And, you know, I went out and I did the prison ministry with them or whatever. And then he said, I got somebody for you to meet. So it was through that person that I introduced you to, and that's how you met Mr. Mike. Right. So I call those divine appointments.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when God is in it, He'll orchestrate things and it'll work in your favor.
Add and
Yeah.
subtract.
And here we are.
Most definitely. But God.
Yes.
But God.
Yeah.
I tell Mike, I say, man, see, a lot of people don't understand. You know, when he told me, you know, about his situation and how he came home, you got to think about it. This man was given life.
Yeah. But God.
They
But
gave
God.
him life. You know, in Texas, they give you parole after 20 years. They don't have to give it to you at the 20-year mark, but
30.
he had got 30 year. The 30 calendar year, and they gave him parole on a murder charge.
Right.
Yeah.
God seen fit to intervene. You know, in them situations, you don't make parole the first time. Never. I never seen it, never heard of it. You know, they would have said him, look, even the family would have been like, nah, we're not ready for him to come home. People be bitter.
Yes. Yes. Still breathing.
You know, their family was out there doing the same thing he was doing, and just come up short. They hate the person who, you know, who unalive their people. That's just what it is. Man, them people wasn't even like that. God spoke to them people, was like, man, they don't think he's the same person he was when he went to jail. Man, who does that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, I tell people, not everybody that are in prison or incarcerated are monsters.
Right.
You know, there are some very talented people behind bars.
Most definitely.
There are some people that have really reformed. The Bible says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Most definitely.
So some people, prison saved their lives. But, you know, it sounds a little crazy maybe to some people.
No, it don't.
It saved their lives because now you're coming out renewed, redeemed, transformed, rehabilitated, you know, now in tune and connected to God. Totally changed your life around, and everything around you, I'm sure, has changed. Your loved ones, I'm sure, pleased with you. You know, and God has forgiven you. You paid your debt to society.
Yes.
You paid your debt. And so at the end of the day, I tell people, walk in that redemption.
Most definitely.
You know, and not everybody behind bars are monsters.
Right.
You know, that's just the imagery that we see, that people, you know, that's out here. It's propaganda. It just is what it is. A lot of the time, not saying that there aren't any that are or shouldn't be there, and that are not, you know, that are monsters.
Right.
But there are a great deal of people that I know personally that have really, really, really got out, and they're doing really well.
Right.
They're doing really, really well.
I want to tell you something else. Life at the time was invented because I be want to show the enlightenment side of them brothers who done 30 years. 30 years. The Michael P's.
Yes.
The KWs. You know, the brothers who served their time and came out. And it's not going to be a perfect transition. They're not going to get everything right. But you got to think about it. If you sit down and conversate with these brothers, you wouldn't even know they was gone that long. Just from their conversation, you wouldn't even put it in your mind if they didn't tell you, yeah, you know, I was gone away for a while. But if you talk to them and sit down and you don't know nothing about them, you would think they was professors in the college or just educated black brother that just know what he talking about, because you wouldn't tell. But since people,
and that's the God that's the God in them and on them. It's the same with Kay. I tell him now.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Since people know their background, they try him. You know, they analyze him. They pick with him. Let me see if he really changed. Let me see if he walking that walk like he talking that talk. And every time I see this man up there on stage doing what he loved to do, telling jokes, it's a salute. Every time I see this man in front of crowd, sharing, serving, it's a book God moment.
Yeah. And that's God getting the glory out of his life. You know, this is something else I tell people. When you think of glory, right? there's a weight that comes with that.
Most definitely.
Glory is weighty. Not everybody can walk in your shoes and have that oil on them and that anointing and that glory.
Most definitely.
When you think of glory, I think of the weight that comes with it. It's weighty. You know what I mean? And it's everybody doesn't possess that.
Right.
So that's how you know it's a God thing. There was a price that you had to pay
Big price.
for the glory that's on your life right now. There's a price that I had to pay, that Mr. London had to pay, that my man had to pay.
Right.
And I'm gonna have a transparent moment about my man. I had to learn him and still learning. It's a process.
Right.
There was a time I'm like, oh no, hell no, I'm done. And you know that, Mr.
Yes.
I'm like, no, But I had to give grace.
Right.
Give grace.
This man did 31 years.
31.
And why he say, baby, while you was out here trying to figure out life, I was in there figuring out life. Now I'm out here still trying to figure out life.
Still trying to figure
So
it out.
the things that I think he should know, he's like, baby, I'm learning every day.
Every
One thing
day.
to the other, every day.
Every day.
And I tell him, you're doing an amazing job.
Amazing job. That's right.
So I have to code switch a little bit and speak more life into him.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
But it's reciprocal.
Right.
That's
right.
So when I think of glory, there's it's heavy sometimes.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
And sometimes it don't feel good.
Right. And
But-
just to reach back into the backpack of something you said prior.
Yes, sir.
You met him where he was at. It took
Yeah.
you a moment, and I'm speaking from firsthand experience. It took you
Yes.
a moment because you had to be patient. You had to be understanding. A lot of us coming from prison, we're OCD to the umpteenth power. Grabbing his cell phone is a mind blower. I mean,
Yes.
to this day, I've been home a little over a year and a half. To this day, oh man, going to the grocery store, being around people, things
Yes.
that to you are normal or abnormal
Yes.
to somebody that's done 30 years.
Yes.
Every day, our life was supervised. Now
Yes.
we're out here in free society. I can go to the bathroom when I feel like it. I can go to Saltgrass when I feel like it.
Yes.
Man. And when you talk about that weight, trust me,
Yeah.
man, again, from lived experience, man. I am a living witness, living testimony. Hey, man, it gets hard. But one thing I know, man, don't quit, man.
Yes. I salute all of you all that have endured. Like I said, I've never done prison time, but I've been to jail a few times. And I think the most I've ever done in jail was 2 weeks, as an adult. And that was even over 10, 15, probably 20 years ago.
Right.
It was over 20 years ago, but I'm not exempt.
Right.
And so I had to ask God to show me how to love this man,
Right.
from where he needs to be loved at. Right. Show me my wrong, show me myself when I need to be quiet, when I need to be more gentle, when I need to just have a listening ear and to listen to understand and not always to respond.
Right.
Oh, come on, man.
And it's different working with the prisoners as opposed to dating one that has just been released and that is, still navigating as he has re-entered this big old world that we live in, where everything is technical, all of this temptation that's out here, just everything, down to, like you said, a cell phone, down to the gadgets and the things on the vehicle that we drive.
Right.
All of those things. Right. I am used to being on the outs. So I had to learn to pace myself and check myself and check my heart posture.
Right.
And allow myself to be wrong sometimes.
Right.
So, yeah.
Most definitely.
Man. Mike, you got something, bro?
Oh man, again, man, this has been a blessing, and Miss Grace, thank you once again. I also
Yes.
would like to extend a shout out to K Dub. Look forward to meeting you in the very near future, Miss Grace.
Yeah.
Likewise, uh,
Yes.
and this has just been a phenomenal thing. And as I always tell our viewers, uh, your attitude determines your altitude. How
Yes.
far you can go. So with that mindset, Miss Grace spoke about the mindset, everything from back then. She she had to toss it over her back. It's still in her. You heard her be very transparent. Hey man, when I get up against the wall, I know how to come out swinging. If need be. But I understand today that the stakes are too high, and that there's somebody bigger than me, much bigger than me, much stronger than me that can carry anything that's too heavy for
Mm,
me. So,
come on.
just having that mindset
Yeah.
therapy, having that mindset, it has
Yeah.
taken myself, and I'm certain I speak for these two on board. Uh, it has taken me a long way, and I extend that to the crowd today. You have to have a renewed mind, a renewed heart, and whatever it is, that's your spiritual being, whatever it is. And spoke a couple of weeks ago, man. If that tree is what rocks you, what keeps you in the line, go hug that tree. Because I'm gonna talk to mine, and we'll meet
Yeah.
up in the middle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So whatever your spiritual being, your spiritual relationship, hey man, stand on it, man. Stand on it. And like
Damn.
you heard the brother speak about, people will test you. I scream, but God every day. I scream it. Anybody that know me,
Yeah.
I scream it. I got enough T-shirts printed up. I try to wear one every day to let them know, hey man, this is me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And those that are close to me, that accountability group, when you see me veer out, just pop me up. You ain't got to say nothing. Just say, but God. I'll shake,
Hmm.
because I know what the life I'm trying to live.
You
Yes.
living, brother.
Because
You
I can
living.
walk, with a limp. I can walk perpendicular. I can shake you with that. I know the life I'm trying to live.
Yeah.
Person I'm trying to be. Am I perfect? No.
Mm-mm.
Do I fall down every day? But I know one thing, God, I'm sorry, man. Forgive me of my sin. God, help me up. God,
Yeah.
navigate this course, man. It's got too many pit holes, detour signs, red lights. Navigate me,
Mm,
God. I
come
can't
on.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh man, again, man, and just this mindset therapy, man, I love it. Miss Grace, again, thank you. And man, just really looking forward to the next level. And as they say, new level, new devil. So we know we got to come
Yes.
squabbling, you know. But
Yeah.
look forward to it. Look forward to it.
Well, Miss
And
Grace,
I want to
well,
say something real quick.
Go ahead.
When you say, I just want to piggyback on what you said. We die daily, right? Or we should be. Meaning every day we should be killing off the flesh, killing off that old man, peeling layers back and layers back, shedding the skin, right? So to speak, so that the newness of life, our new, transformed version of ourselves can come to flourishment and manifestation. It's not always easy. Every day I have to repent because I'm like, God, if you bust through these clouds right now, I don't know if I'm gonna make it, but I'm gonna go ahead and repent so I can.
yeah, yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's a continuous cycle of living right, of changing our thought process, of being kind to ourselves as well as to others. Being the light, being the change agent, the change that we want to see. It starts with us, you know. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you all for having me on.
Look,
Anytime, y'all know y'all can hit me up, and I'm here.
man, I am so elated. Thank you for joining us. I know we had some hiccups, but it's nothing compared to the information and everything that was shared on this podcast tonight, man. I thank you for making it happen. Again, I thank you for showing up for me again. You know, hey, I'm ecstatic, man. And tell OG we got to run it back. We got to run it back.
Yes,
So let me know what his schedule is, and we gonna run that back. Tell him
yes.
I gotta pick his brain. I ain't through. I got something for him now. But
Okay.
man, it's been a awesome episode, man. Thank you, Miss Grace, man. This mindset therapy, you know what we do here at Mindset Therapy. We help men, women, and children believe in themselves again. We offer 7 simple strategies to developing a positive mindset, and we stand on that. You see it running, we ain't playing with it. We add it. Big Mike, on you.
Hey man, before I go, man, I just like to extend my gratitude to a couple of people, man. In particular, On Your Mark podcast in Dallas, Texas. Coach Flanagan, mad shout out. Aswell podcast, Dallas, Texas, mad shout out. OG Heavy, who has books and the workbooks. Stay on your game, Oklahoma, mad shout out. You know, and to a lot of those that I can't think of right now, just blame it on my brain, not my heart. Mad shout out to you guys, all my frat brothers, frat sisters. Keep pushing. You know, I'm a big fan of if they can, you can. You know, so if it's been done before you, even faced with adversity, guess what? You can do it too. You can beat it too, and you can be successful. So having said that, again, mad salute, Mindset Therapy, Miss Gray. Big shout out, you know, and look forward to the future, man. The future, most definitely.
Right.
Before you leave, tell them where to find you at, Miss Grace.
So Grace Mercy Favor on all platforms. If there's anyone on here listening that would, like, I think we talked about the consultations, like 15-minute sessions or whatever, they can just message me and we'll go from there. Grace Mercy Favor on all platforms. More property management, more management, please. And she managed me because, you know, Kay is doing the comedy thing and doing the shows, and he has a lot going on as well that we are collaborating on. And like I said, he's about to start going into the school district. I didn't forget about you, Mr. Lindsay. You know, once we get that up and running, I'm definitely gonna be calling both of y'all actually. And hello to Mrs. London for always being so supportive to not just you, but allowing you the space to do your thing and supporting you while you're doing your thing. That's a blessing to have such a beautiful woman that allow you the space needed to grow, to stretch, to be what God is calling you to be, to have such a platform where you can speak life and encourage people. So salute to her.
No doubt, man. I sure will. You know it's mad love, man. You know where I'm at. Y'all for joining on Facebook, on YouTube, and thank y'all. Y'all go to the YouTube channel, Mindset Therapy Real Talk Podcast. Share and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Check the videos out, like the videos, share and subscribe, man. I really would appreciate that, man. And we out.
Have a good night, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.